Do you own one of these cars? Because if so, you could be sitting on a financial time bomb without even realizing it. So, we're talking about cars that look reliable, even luxurious, but they're hiding engineering flaws so bad that mechanics themselves are warning people, whatever you do, don't bring that car into my shop. Now, these aren't old junkers from the 90s. These are recent models, 2020, 2021, even 2024, that were sold as cutting edge. But in reality, well, they break in ways that are catastrophic, unpredictable, and outrageously expensive to repair. Engines failing without warning, steering systems that lock up mid-turn, electronics that glitch so badly that even dealers throw their hands up. And when the bill comes due, well, we're not talking about a few $100. These repairs start in the thousands. So stay with me to the end, because the number one car on this list is one of the most popular small SUVs on the road today, but it can self-destruct under 30,000 miles with no warning. And once it happens, well, there's no cheap fix. So let's dive straight in. Starting with number 9, and let's work backwards. So number 9, the Ford Fiesta. Now, it's fun, it's compact, it's efficient, but it's hiding one of the most infamous engineering decisions of the last decade. See, instead of a normal timing belt, Ford used a wet belt that runs inside the engine oil. Now, on paper, it reduces friction, but in reality, the oil degrades the belt, turning it into mush. And as it disintegrates, tiny rubber particles circulate through the engine, clogging oil passages and starving critical parts of lubrication. Mechanics open these engines and find what looks like sticky black sludge where the belt should be. Now, here's the kicker. There's often no check engine light, no noise, and no vibration. One day, it just dies. Now, owners have reported complete engine failure at 60,000 miles, and that's well under what anyone would expect. And the cost of the repair? $1,200 if you catch it early, $4,000 or more if debris damages bearings and crankshafts. Some mechanics won't even attempt the repair because the cleanup process is so time-consuming and unreliable. And mechanics say, if you own one, change your oil religiously with the exact spec and replace that belt years earlier than Ford suggests. Ignore it, and you're on borrowed time. In at number 8, the Kia Picanto. Now, it looks like the perfect budget city car. It's cheap, it's cheerful, and it's easy to drive. But behind the smile is a nasty timing issue. Weak chain tensioners allow the timing chain to stretch. Now, at first, you'll hear a faint rattle on cold starts, maybe a ticking noise. Now, most people shrug that off until the chain skips a tooth. Now, at that moment, pistons and valves collide. The engine doesn't just stall, it destroys itself. Now, repairs range from $900 for a basic tensioner replacement to $2,000 for full rebuilds. And here's the scary part. Failures often occur under 50,000 miles. So imagine thinking you bought a dependable small car only to be told the engine is toast halfway through its life. Mechanics say Picanto failures are a nightmare of false savings. A cheap purchase price followed by expensive surprises. On to number 7, the Skoda Kamiq. Now, it's one of Europe's most popular crossovers. Solid build, backed by VW engineering. But 2020 to 2023 models hide a very dangerous steering defect. Owners report sudden stiffness, jerky movements, even temporary wheel lockups while overtaking on highways. The culprit is the electronic steering control unit clashing with angle sensors. And because it's intermittent, there are no stored error codes, and that makes it a mechanic's nightmare. You can spend days swapping parts only for the issue to reappear once again. Now, when replacement is required, the cost is brutal, anywhere between $1,000 and $1,600 for the ECU or the column. Worse, parts are often back-ordered for months. Now, mechanics call it one of the most unsettling modern cars to drive because the fault usually happens under pressure, tight corners, fast lanes, or heavy braking. On to number 6, the Peugeot 208. Now, it's stylish, affordable, and it's one of Europe's best sellers. But under the hood, the 1.2 PureTech engine hides a chilling defect. Cooling jets inside the block corrode far too early, and when they weaken, coolant leaks begin. Tiny cracks unnoticed until overheating spirals out of control. Now, in the worst cases, engines have literally caught fire. Now, Peugeot issued limited recalls, but not every VIN was covered. Thousands of used buyers are driving potential fire hazards without even knowing it. Replacing the cooling system costs around $900, but if the overheating cooks the block or fries the wiring, well, the bill explodes way past $3,000. Mechanics say it's unpredictable. They've seen engines fail at 15,000 miles with no warning. What's their advice? Well, if you own one, check your VIN, inspect the system regularly, and don't wait for the dash light because sometimes it never comes. On to number 5, the Opel Astra 1.6 Turbo. Now, the Astra looks like the definition of reliable family transport, but mechanics know the truth. A design flaw in the crankshaft bearings can silently destroy the engine. Now, at first, there's only a faint tick at a low RPM, and drivers think it's fairly harmless. But that sound is early bearing wear, starving the crankshaft of oil pressure, so eventually the engine stalls, and by then, it's already too late. Even with perfect oil changes, failures will happen. The flaw is in the internal tolerances, not the maintenance. Excuse me, mechanics estimate $2,500 to $3,800 for repair, but many advise replacing the whole engine instead. Now, as one mechanic put it, this car runs perfectly until the day it doesn't, and when it stops, it's done. On to number 4, the Ford Kuga PHEV. Now, Ford's eco-friendly family SUV that turned into an expensive headache is next. The plug-in hybrid system is plagued with electronic gremlins. Owners report random engine fault warnings, limp mode activations, and charging failures. The hybrid ECU often miscommunicates with sensors, creating endless cycles of repairs, and I mean endless. Dealers reflash software, they replace sensors, they even swap modules, but the problems still come back. And the costs? Well, they're easily above $2,000. And that's even before we mention the battery recall for the fire risk. Mechanics dread these cars because diagnostics are very unreliable. You can fix one issue only for 3 more codes to suddenly appear. So it's death by 1,000 cuts, except every cut is a 4-figure bill. On to number 3, the Volkswagen Tiguan 2.0 TDI. Now, VW markets it as a dependable SUV, but mechanics know the steering system is a weak point. First, you'll feel stiffness during parking, then occasional warnings, and eventually the power assist cuts out mid-drive. Now, some owners describe the wheel going stone heavy at highway speeds. Replacing the rack or the module runs anywhere from $1,300 to $1,800. And the kicker? Well, some owners report failures after replacements, meaning repeat repairs. Mechanics say the Tiguan's steering flaw is one of those jobs you fix, cross your fingers, and hope it never ever comes back. On to number 2, and it's a Mercedes. This time it's the Mercedes-Benz A-Class. Luxury badge, budget nightmare. Now, mechanics hate these because the electronics are unpredictable and endless. Dashboard lights flicker, limp mode engages at random, water seeps into wiring, and the problems go on. Repairs start at $400 for a sensor, but then it's $1,200 for harnesses and $1,400 plus for ECU replacements. And the worst part? Issues overlap. So fixing one doesn't solve the rest. One mechanic put it very bluntly: every time you solve one problem, two more appear. It's like chasing ghosts. So finally, onto the number one car to completely avoid, and it's the Fiat 500X 1.3 Firefly Turbo. Now, on the surface, it's very stylish and fun, but mechanics rank it as one of the most dreaded cars of 2025. The turbocharger suffers from poor oil circulation and it wears out fast. Early signs include whistling noises, higher oil consumption, and total power loss. Ignore it and oil leaks contaminate the entire intake and the exhaust system. Intercooler, catalyst converter, and the EGR valve, they're all affected. Now, a new turbo costs $1,200 to $1,500, but full contamination cleanup pushes those repairs to $2,500 plus. Parts are often delayed, leaving cars stranded for weeks. Mechanics say the Firefly Turbo is a repeat offender. Even after replacements, new turbos often fail early if oil isn't changed with the exact specs. Now, this car looks like a bargain, but in reality, well, it's a money pit that can bleed thousands from owners who just thought they were saving money. So there you have it. 9 cars that mechanics dread in 2025. From Ford's wet belt fiasco to Mercedes' electronic nightmares, each one of these hides design flaws that can turn ownership into a financial disaster. So have you ever owned any of these nightmares? Did you ever get hit with a massive repair bill? Drop your story in the comments below. It might save someone from making the very same mistake. And before you go car shopping, watch my video where I revealed the 10 worst luxury cars to buy in 2025, because sometimes that $100,000 badge is just a $100,000 mistake. And do me a favor, guys, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the insider breakdowns that the car industry doesn't want you to see. And I'll see you guys on the next one.